actually have working Altergeist for you today, which is absolutely amazing to see. We have DDD as well, and some more little innovations of the format. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So we have a working Altergeist list for you today. Actually sporting off Secret Village. Now, I'll be honest with you, this is, it's been a little while since we've seen some of the little innovations that this deck is attempting to want to do this format, because with how things have been kind of shifting around, well, unfortunately, your meta is not exactly in the greatest positions out here for this. Now, something I do find a little interesting, we're playing a decode talker down here as well, instead of like an access code talker in the extra deck. Some of the options that this build is kind of presenting are a little bit different than what we're kind of used to seeing within the meta. And I think that's actually really freaking cool. Diversity always is something that you want to try to see from these sorts of events, where players are testing out different ideas and seeing, hey, what's working out here and what's not necessarily, pulling it through. And I also see we have triple skill drain in here. So, I guess we've kind of become one of the skill drain decks in the room, but to be honest with you, you need to have things that can negate on your opponent. You need to have ways to control your opponent so that, you can kind of set yourself up into a position to win the game. And necessarily, like, if you don't have the ability to do that, well, things are going to kind of crumble out of control, or you're going to have a bad time. So control cards like this are going to be very, very strong. Also, this deck doesn't necessarily have an issue putting things on the field, and, also, the activation and effects of your Altergeist cards cannot be negated. So, you do with this information what you will, but, we get some broken interactions out here that kind of allow us to kind of win the game in a little bit more unfair of a situation. So I like this Altergeist list a lot. This is pretty cool. Next up here, we have Prera Friends. Now, this is still a Calamities lock turbo deck, no matter how you want to spin it, look around it here. Tell me that it's not actually the way that that's Calamity is going to be the heart and soul of this deck. Obviously, with the current iteration of the deck in the TCG, it's kind of just gas turbo with a bunch of good supplement cards to kind of help you, make sure that you can do what you want to do with this. Set up these big boards and then kind of go on along with your day. It's why, the Fenrir being the generic, stupid, good card that he is. Free special summon of this, continue on with your mid combo here. Now you have a spot removal option for the Fenrir. I wonder if Konami actually realized the things that they were doing with this. Now, something else interesting that this build is doing is the crossout designator here. Certain hand traps, this thing, to a lesser extent, this thing, and this thing. Depends on the matchup that can ruin your day. But crossout's here to help alleviate the stress of, the BS at the end of the day. We're also doing the 1 bonds and the 1 copy of the phalanx. Pretty standard stuff, I feel like, here. Also, since, we are doing the crossout stuff, we do have to play things like Called by the Grave, kind of assist us along with our day. Outside of that, the Artemis is a really cute little tech choice in here. But sure, the ability, you can turn your Prera into this, right? Yeah, level 4 lower spellcaster monster. Sure. I guess this is just going to help you with a stepping stone to go on into the Selene. Little sublines that kind of help you out. Maybe that you didn't consider, especially, possibly you might be losing a game. All of a sudden, something along the lines here to kind of assist you, needing to make an SP Little Knight for a form of interruption. Okay. Next up here, we have Ha Flunderies. Look at these. Flunder. Okay, so this is a going second version of the deck. You have the Evenlies built in here. And you're also packing, and I kid you not, Dark Ruler no more is in here. This duelist wanted to play as ignorant of a deck as they actually could today. And I think that's fine. You're trying to make sure that whatever matchup that Flunder's going to run into, it's going to be a fantastic free win for this deck. Now, I do see that we are playing M-Pen as a 2 of instead of 3. I feel like 3 M-Pen's been a fairly recent addition to the pile, but it's more or less trying to keep the consistency of things up along the way. One other thing is this build is just putting all of its Harpies Featherstorms in the side deck, which I also kind of find that a little bit interesting. You know, at least most of these builds try to play the 1 of so you could like thrust or, you know, pull into it, but this build's not even playing thrust, which is actually really good news for budget players out here that are looking for options to want to play. This gives you a very nice variety of things to mess around with. Now, you also see here, we are playing our Simorgh package in the side deck. So we have Elborz here, your 2 copies of the Bird of Perfection, and I tend to know additional surprise Dark Simorgh, the trinity of unfun, as we'll call them here, coming to kind of assist this deck along the way. Outside of that, you're still playing standard Flonderies. You need to understand that, like, the deck is going to be massive filtering options, making sure that you don't lose to Droll and Lockbird. And then you have your board breaker cards here to kind of assist you on whichever mode that you're going to be playing on. Outside of that, I guess Called By might be a little bit weird in the side deck, and also the Dimensional Fissure is kind of a little cool tech choice. It really depends on how your meta shapes up to see if you want to, you know, kind of bring this out and see how much value you can get. All right, next up here, DDD. Well, you know, I have not seen a competent DDD list in months. And I take a look at this thing, and this looks absolutely beautiful. And of course, I mean, we're still maximizing on Pirate Map. Like, this thing is your heart and soul. This gets you everywhere that you want to be, and then some. Now, you're going to notice something a little cheesy in this list. It is full armored Xyz. This deck, and I kid you not, somehow has found enough room in here to be able to play full armored Xyz, and I'm genuinely impressed with that, because you don't hardly see these decks having room to do so. But also, I mean, full armor Xyz can let you do some kind of cheesy things in here as well, which is kind of cool, actually. I'll give them a little bit of credit. The little tech choice of this one little piece here actually allows this deck to open up some very interesting ideas. I also see that we have double Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. Their hand trap ratio is a little bit weird here. I mean, you're on what, 3, 2, 2, 2. I feel like they're trying to hit as many high notes as they can along the way, and that's fine. All right, there's nothing wrong with trying to make sure that you can hit your diversity and make sure that, you know, whatever high notes that you need to be hitting for these matchups will be clearing out and being relatively easy for you. Also, this deck also gets access to anti-spell fragrance. Well, you know, once the anti-spell's up, you're not going to do anything with setting up new pendulum scales, but that doesn't matter because you've already set up, you know, the craziest DDDDDDD's nuts field that you can actually set up here. So that's something kind of important to understand. Deck looks incredibly tacked out. Definitely a nice change of pace to actually see DDD actually coming out of the woodwork here and being a deck that actually looks competent. Good stuff. Next up here, we have a Fire King budget deck. And the reason why I want to showcase this is, you know, budget Fire King's something that people have been trying to figure out. I do understand that, well, Robbie, there's Fenrir's in here, there's Rise Heart, you know, we have Pot of Prosperities and Talent in here as well. Yes, all of these cards are a lot more easily accessible now. I'm going to call it what it is. I mean, Fenrir's probably your most expensive option in here. But if you're looking at comparing this to the Wanted package, that is infinitely more money. This definitely falls in line with some more budget options, which is actually kind of nice. You know, getting the chance to see a deck be more affordable is good, and especially with how this current meta has been. You know, we've had such expensive options, but you know, this build doesn't even have an SP Little Knight in here. You know, you can adjust for, you know, needing to play SP or whatever other options that you need to kind of make sure, hey, you know, we're able to see some pretty good results out here overall at the end of the day. So, those are your list for today. I like a lot of what I'm seeing here. A lot of good decks in the meta, and a very strong change of pace for how everything has kind of been setting up out here. You know, more options tends to be a good thing in the meta, especially with people testing out all sorts of, you know, banger ideas. That's a win. So please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.